Hey everybody, so I wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about social media. I've been seeing some stuff recently in like television and whatnot that's really been attacking social media. I mean, I'm sure everybody's seen that, and especially like the older generation, about how horrible social media is. And I personally don't like social media for a number of reasons, and I try to avoid it as much as possible. Some of it, I mean, I think it's an interesting tool. And it's definitely good for like marketing and stuff. But I don't like it. There's things I don't like about it. But I think that a lot of people complaining about social media is just them whining about the future. I know my generation in particular, people who grew up, kids who didn't exactly grow up with internet and technology, who that happened later in their childhood. I didn't have internet until sometime later in high school. I didn't have a cell phone until later in high school. And even then it was like really slow internet. So I wasn't quite able to, on all the websites, social media and stuff like that. So I think that, my generation is particularly struggling with that because they grew up, playing outside, playing with toys, interacting socially, and then they're thrown into this world of technology. And so they're sort of in between the two. And they're torn from both sides, right? I see that because I spend a fair amount of time on social media, but I also have this life before, whatever. And now kids these days are growing up with iPads and cell phones, and then the older people are saying how horrible that is. And certainly there are negative effects, like concentration, right? Attention span is dropping. People's ability to concentrate is completely changed because of the way that we take in information now. And I think there's a lot of emotional problems too, a lot of isolation, because the way we're interacting with each other, we're not ready for, we're not emotionally evolved for the interactions that we have. Because most of our communication comes visually through body language and vocal inflections, and a lot of that's missing through text and messaging and so forth. So, I mean, we can reach more people than we ever had, but I think we're more isolated than we've ever been because the way we're communicating isn't sufficient. And that's because we're just not evolved yet for that, right? Especially, this generation, even the generation growing up with social media, with internet, with technology, they're not adapted to it. So, a lot of problems a lot of social problems, a lot of emotional problems, I think, come from this internet, and that is now dominating our lives. So that may seem all bad and horrible, and I agree with a lot of the critiques that people say, but I think that's just the way things are going. That's the natural progression, that's the evolution of humanity, right? Of humanity and social spirit. Our language is changing, the way we use language, but language has always been changing. Language has always been evolving. The way we interact has always been changing. It's always been evolving. For people to say that's horrible, that's just the next step. They're just fighting what's coming. They're fighting the evolution of things. Maybe in a few generations, then we'll be emotionally evolved, and we won't have all these problems that we have. We'll be able to communicate properly through the internet, through text and messaging and so forth, or whatever gets invented. Because really, what we evolve, what we adapt to, is our environment, and our environment is now online. And it's only going to be a matter of time before the internet world is more real than the world we live in, just because that's where we're headed, right? I mean, a lot of our lives, much of our reality, what's real is very abstract. And so, it's just getting more and more and more abstract as time goes on, and we're getting more into the digital world. And many people already spend more time probably on the internet than they do in the real world. And it's going to be a matter of time before it's more real. And if you say, is that a good thing, is that a bad thing, it's just what's happening. I don't think it's good or bad, right? It's kind of like X-Men in a sense that it's like, it's the future, it's evolution. You can fight it, but you can't stop it. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed, and see you guys later. Peace out.